Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with Tactic Solutions. And did you know that today, with the CPI data report that was released and the aggressive sell-off that we saw during the pre-market session, and then the amazing recovery that we saw today, is the top 5 biggest intraday movement that the S&P 500 has ever seen in the history of the S&P 500. So if you thought today was special, then yes, today was very special. And in my opinion, I have not seen this type of movement where we aggressively sold off and aggressively began to recover. I'm not too sure how many of you guys actually tuned on in to our live session, but it was actually all caught live. When the CPI data report was released and the market aggressively sold off, I decided to take a small position and or just take a portion of a position, right? And then I added more if and only if direction was in my favor. And that was actually during the live trading session that I began to add more when direction was in my favor. And I locked in profits right around 1750. Today we hit highs of 1962 and closed at 1931 for the NASDAQ market. I closed a little bit over 34,500 in the green today. I'm very grateful for it. I left a lot of money on the table, but again, our goal is never to be perfect because we're never going to be perfect, right? So we have to know when to walk away and when enough is enough. Today was a very significant day. There was a lot of volatility. So if you felt challenged today, just understand that, well, that's exactly what today was. Even for overall markets, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ market, think about it. The NASDAQ market today hit 52-week lows. And that in that same time that it saw 52-week lows, it aggressively began to recover. And why? Again, when you actually look at the numbers, the CPI data report was not good. It was worse than expected, but we were already super oversold. And I talked about this in the live trading session where normally, at least in my experience, and that's all I could ever speak from, every previous CPI data report, when the market sells off, it continues to sell off for the remainder of the day. There might be some movements that are a little bullish, but it continues to sell off. Today was so different. We found a support during the pre-market session, and then we aggressively began to recover. I mean, the move today for TQQQ was a spread of 20%. This is one of the biggest movements for the NASDAQ, one of the biggest rebounds dating back since 2020 when the pandemic hit. We have not seen an intraday move this significant in about 2 years. And the S&P 500, that rebound was a top 5 movement in the history of the S&P 500. So I want you to know that you're not alone if you felt challenged today. Today was definitely a challenge, right? And for those that are unaware of what happened, first off, NASDAQ futures are up after market hours. Now, what that means is if the NASDAQ market were to open right now, if the stock market were to open, we would be in the green. The NASDAQ market would be 0.5% in the green, and TQQQ would be up about 1.5% to around 1.75%. One thing, I'm just going to bring this up, one critical level that I want you guys to pay attention to is 11,000 for tomorrow. As long as we hold above 11,000 for the NASDAQ, we should be good. If we break below 11,000, be ready for a significant pullback on the NASDAQ market. Just want to make sure that I set that proper expectation. We are very oversold, but the cheap can always get cheaper. So please don't be afraid to take advantage of opportunities at these lower levels for great quality companies. Just watch the dollar amount that you invest into them. It's not a time to be super confident when things are still very uncertain. And why are things uncertain? Well, the consumer sentiment report, the consumer price index, the CPI data report that was released today, the expectation was a 0.2% increase. So the way that they calculate this is they drop the previous month of September and then they add the new one, right? With that being said, you can see that although we expected a 0.2% increase, we actually reported a 0.4% increase. Core CPI came in 0.2 points higher than expected as well. That came in at 6.6%, and overall CPI came in at 8.2%. Again, hotter than expected. And why is that a bad thing? It's not even so much about what's reporting, right? It simply means that inflation is still higher than we wanted it to, than what we expected. But why is that a bad thing? I want you to understand the why behind it. That's my goal with this. The reason that it was worse than expected is because of how the Federal Reserve sees it. The Federal Reserve is raising interest rates to slow down the economy and to bring down inflation. And if they see that inflation isn't being brought down, if they see that the economy is not feeling the pressure, then this will only allow them to justify, to raise interest rates more aggressively and more consistently, to front load interest rate hikes, to make the economy feel the pressure. They're not going to stop until the economy begins to slow down. So if they are not slowing down, then this only means that the reaction of the Federal Reserve is to be more aggressive. So we've raised interest rates 0.75% or 3/4 of a basis point, as many of you guys have heard. The Federal Reserve can justify maybe a full basis point. We are at a specific inflation rate right now that is still at a 40-year high. This is why so many people are so uncertain. But the way that I like to view it is, although things are still bad, I still think it's an amazing time to prepare. Preparing does not mean that you need to buy everything right now. It just means creating a plan of action. So I'll make sure to follow up with this. If you have any questions about the CPI data report, just shoot me a direct message via Discord, and that's that first link in the description. The last thing that I want to talk about is what reports are being released tomorrow. As you guys can see, at 1 hour before the market opens at 8:30, there's going to be a retail sales, right? Retail sales and then X auto. The reason that this is so important is this is 1 hour before the market opens, and then we have a consumer sentiment report that I'm going to be paying attention to at 10 a.m., which is 30 minutes after the market opens. I'll be trading live with my Learn Plan Profit group as I do every single morning. But again, it is super important for you to be aware of these economic reports, because if you are not, there could be a quick shift of direction. Have you ever been in a position and then all of a sudden the stock rises or the stock drops, and it's because a certain report or news was just released? This is why these economic reports are so important. It's not about predicting the future, because you never will. It's about simply preparing for it. And that is simply our job here. It's to make sure that we are aware of what's about to be released, so we are not caught by surprise. And that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow for our live trading session, is making sure that we are aware of how these retail sales reports come in, as well as that consumer sentiment report, which can influence the overall market. As of now, like I said, NASDAQ futures are in the green. Fingers crossed that they end up holding at the market and that the market begins to recover. But again, you have to stay level-headed. You have to stay optimistic. The cheap can always get cheaper. Instead of trying to predict the bottom of the market, allow anything to happen. If the market is bullish, you know that you can go long on something, right? If the market is bearish, you can short something, right? I trade two specific pair of ETFs. One goes up when the other one goes down, and this keeps my trading very simple. Again, that was all caught live in today's trading session. And if you want to watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow, we are running one of our biggest sales, and that's that second link down below. It's $150 off our Learn Plan Profit 2.0. I'm excited to take on the market tomorrow. I hope that you are too. Let's stay patient. Let's stay cool, calm, and collected. And most importantly, let's stay selective during an uncertain time. Again, I would love to stay connected. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot me a direct message via Discord. That's that first link, or shoot me a direct message via Instagram, and that's that third link down below. And yes, that is my only Instagram account, and yes, I am verified. Make sure, again, if you want to join our LPP team, if you've been waiting for our biggest discount, that's that second link down below. And again, we are giving away a free trading journal with every order on shoptechbuds.com, and that does end tonight, and that's that fourth link in the description. All you have to do is add it to your order. I appreciate your time. I'll see you Learn Plan Profit traders tomorrow at market open. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.